back live again. Today we'll be talking to Georgegina, who is the founder of Pebbles Magazine, which is a sustainable magazine. We're going to be talking about her journey so far in light of International Women's Month Day year. Um,
Hi,
Yay! Sophia.
we got there.
You got there. Yes, she's here.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Happy International Women's Day slash week slash month slash forever, please.
Absolutely. I just said the same thing just before you jumped on. It should be every day of the week. So yeah, this is for
Definitely,
us.
definitely.
Good to
Um,
see you.
yeah, you too. I'm sorry for all the tech. I think it was I needed to update my app, but we're here.
Hey, it happens, and we're here. I'm just glad to see your beautiful face. I'm really happy, really chuffed.
Oh, I'm not sure. It's it's very
Well, it
close
is
up.
gloomy outside, so that's the perfect excuse. But yeah, well, it
Yeah,
is over here in
definitely.
London where we are. So yeah,
Definitely.
well,
I'm going out on a dog walk, I think, after this. So yes.
fantastic. Great. So obviously, I wanted to invite you here so that some of the people that know what we do at MamaSia can have an idea of what a sustainable magazine looks like. I did tell everybody before you joined that you are the founder of Pebbles Magazine, which is doing amazingly well for not just for businesses that you highlight in sustainability and that have social impact kind of projects, but also just for the environment alone. You highlight some great things then. I just wanted to talk about your journey so far. We're highlighting female founders and their journeys, and yours is one that's very inspiring to me and many others. So could you just give us a bit of an
Yeah,
idea of what Pebbles is and what you do?
sure. So Pebble is your trusted guide to sustainable living. So everything that
Mhm.
a normal lifestyle magazine or your favorite weekend supplement or your favorite monthly women's magazine would cover, we cover, but we do it from an eco angle. So when we're talking about skincare and beauty, we only feature brands that work with sort of organic or natural ingredients or are plastic free or have a sort of ethical element. When we're
Mhm.
talking about travel, we're talking mostly about UK travel, even before we were all locked down.
Mhm.
A lot of sort of train and slow travel. We try not to cover anything that too much that has, a flight involved. We do a lot around sort of plastic-free living and zero waste, ethical fashion. Pretty much anything that you want to look for from an alternative, we've probably covered it in Pebble. And then we go around interviewing some of the most amazing, innovative inventors and pioneers of things that are going to change our future and hopefully make the world a greener place. So it's a lovely job. I'm very lucky that it's being relatively successful now. Yeah, we've grown an awful lot. We've launched it 4 years ago, and now we've
Mhm.
also diversified into events. So we were doing big eco festivals before lockdown, and we're
Mhm.
building out a really big community. So that's going to launch next month and be a sort of a really interactive place where anyone that's interested in sustainable living can come and hang out and network, but also learn. So we're going to be doing like monthly topics and virtual events and book clubs and stuff for people to take more action at home. So yeah, we're all about trying to make
Fantastic.
it easy as possible to be more sustainable, whether that's at work or at home. And I come from a background that's
Absolutely.
not sustainable at all. Like, I was a travel journalist and a travel editor, flying all over the world,
Mhm.
racking up
Mhm.
the carbon. And my guilt over that really made me stop and think that I wanted to change, and I wanted to make it more easy for other people to change as well. And I wanted to use a magazine to do it. So that's the kind of idea of where Pebble came about.
Fantastic. What a phenomenal story. You like to hear that the fact that, you wasn't really from a sustainable background or wasn't familiar with those kind of principles, and it was something that triggered within you to say, no, I'm going to make a difference. And one that I can relate to as well, growing up, being born and raised in England, you just are oblivious to what's outside of your immediate environment. And when I went to school in Ghana, I was just bewildered and amazed about how sustainability is an everyday practice for the people that live there. To a certain degree, they don't have no choice because they're trying to use their resources as much as they can and make it as multifunctional, and purposeful as much as they can with what they have. But it's also very much ingrained in them, like, why are we going to waste this? Like, we're used to eating and throwing our waste in a recycling bin, whereas they will literally go and get the seeds of their tomatoes and chuck it in the garden and wait for it to harvest and then use it again. So it's really interesting for a brand like MamaSia to kind of not just talk about skincare and how good it is, but also how sustainability affects, or the impact of sustainability across the board, from growing the ingredients to then it ending up into customers' hands, basically. So yeah, I'm really inspired by that you said
Absolutely. And I
you
think
wasn't
like,
from a sustainable background, and then
no, like I was always, my stepfather lived a very I guess sustainable life. He had a very light life on the planet, and I was really inspired by him when I was looking to the magazine. But we grew up not thinking about where our ingredients came from, or like where our
yeah,
what was in our skincare, or
yes,
what happened to that product before it got to you, or what happened when you were finished with it. And I think there's
yes,
so much we can learn, and we've kind of become divorced from the
yes,
sort of the communities like that you're talking about, like from Ghana, and how people are raised there. And it's just so sensible. Like, you don't have to
yeah,
label it sustainable either. It's just sensible, and it's making do what
yeah,
you've got, and it's not wasting anything. And I think, over the last few decades, we've really moved away from that, and it's just become about convenience and, just chucking stuff away and not thinking about what goes into what we're putting on our bodies or what we're eating.
yeah,
So yeah, there's a big shift back the other way, which is good. We're starting
yeah.
to see. And it's
So,
what I love
so
about your brand as well. Like, you can trace all the ingredients back to like one community is
yeah,
amazing. And the fact that people have been using them for years, and it's that kind of, it's that heritage and that legacy, and
hmm
you're just taking it to a new audience. That's what I
hmm
love. And yeah, my partner loves every time I use your like body cream, and I get out the shower. My partner's like, "Oh, it smells like holidays."
Yeah, bit of the tropics, eh? Bit spicy, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it is sometimes when you start these journeys, you don't quite know how they're going to what they're going to metamorphose into, or what it's going to look like. And I was, as much as my extended family were looking at me to help them, become more sustainable in regards to their income. And I was looking at them, I was so inspired and I admire them, and I really want to learn more and be like them and just be more conscious about how I'm treating the environment, because it's our home and we are responsible ultimately for what the external environment looks like. Um, I'm very curious to ask you a question, just as you were saying that we're now moving along in the future of sustainability. How do you think that's been for women in particular, like in the sustainable kind of industry? How do we fit in? What's our role? How do you see, especially in the UK? I kind of have an idea in regards to Ghana, but I'm curious to know how you feel we fit in regards
I
to
feel
this
it's a
conversation.
really interesting one, and I think it's a really
Mm.
empowering question as well, because actually I would say 95% of the brands that we work with, or the services, or anything that we feature in Pebble, has women at the heart of it. And I don't just mean like doing the doing, but they're leading the charge. They're the CEOs, they're the founders, they're the creative directors, they're the everything. And it's a really female heavy industry to work in, which is brilliant. But also, we do need more men in the sustainable
Yes,
industries, and it's not
yeah,
something, it feels quite weird when you're kind of looking around to put panels together for events, and you're like, I think we need a man on this panel,
yes,
because everyone else is just women. So that's a really good place to be. I think it's really, I find it really refreshing, and I think it's also,
hmm
it's more collaborative, because that's just how we
hmm
work. It's slightly less
yes,
competitive. It feels a
yes,
lot more open, and I think within sustainability itself anyway, things are more collaborative, because everyone's aiming for the same goal, and that isn't just to make more profit or to be the biggest company. It's to mend the planet, you know, it's to fix our future. So I think
Yes.
there is this coming together which feels very strong. But I do think at a wider scale, sustainability sometimes falls to women. You know, it's like looking
Yeah.
after the planet is a kind of women's extension of what we do, you know, in some way.
Yeah.
Which I think, you know, isn't great. You know, we can't just look after everybody and the planet. So I
Yeah.
think we need more men in the debate, definitely. But I
Yeah.
think there's a real movement of supporting other women within sustainability. And I think for new founders and people wanting to make a difference, it's a really welcoming place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so uncanny that, what you said, no matter where you are in the world, we share a lot of similarities. So even though the women in Ghana who help us make our products at MamaSia, even though they're all the way over there, they're kind of seen as the leaders and kind of taking charge of, okay, we're going to harvest this and we're going to do that, and the men are kind of just there. And I think when people come into our community, they kind of feel sorry for the women, like, oh my God, they're chopping all the firewood and they're doing all this hard work, and the men are just kind of sitting there. And it's normal in our culture, in our community, to have the women kind of at the forefront, and
Mm,
they are the movers and shakers. But people don't get to see that side until they come and visit, and then they start to get themselves ingrained in the culture, and then it's like, this is normal. And yeah, I think, like what you said, we all come together and do the work because we all want the same common goal, which is really nice. But yes, I think
definitely.
here it's good that we've kind of got this sort of sophistication about us, that we can include the men in the conversation and kind of say, okay, this is what we're doing tangibly and you can see the benefits. Now join us. So yeah,
Yeah,
this is a
definitely.
a good
I
kind of
would add though, like when it comes to
mm.
things like investment, like, I mean, that is
Hmm.
still far too men
Oh
heavy,
yeah.
you know, and
Oh
there
yeah.
was so much work to be done with the for outside the sustainable community into supporting women founders and women owned businesses. And you know, it's not equal by any means.
No.
um, but I think within the community it's really supportive and it's really inspiring what different people are doing. You know, that's one of the reasons I set up Pebble. It wasn't to tell my story and, you know,
Mm.
tell everyone what I'm doing or tell them what to do. You know, it was about sharing stories of what other people are doing, because they're
Yeah.
like you guys, you know, you're creating your own supply chains, you're supporting your community, you're creating amazing products. Like, I'm just good at connecting the dots and telling everyone about it. We've all got our own
Thank
skills, but I
you.
think as well, like, you know, older sort of more traditional communities as well, a lot of them had women really in really powerful positions. You know, women were the deciding factor in a lot of these kind of more
Yes.
you know, more rural communities. And I think, you know, again, we've sort of lost that, or we've sort of written it out of history. And there's been a lot of
Yes.
focus this year on like telling different women's stories from history and putting women back into the sort of history books. So I think it's all really interesting to kind of see how different communities are set up.
Yes, it's so refreshing, and like I was saying to Jane, who I was on the live with last week, from Mama Dolce, we was talking about the fact that in my mind, I think everybody knows these things, but I realized being now in this business that people don't know how the other person lives, if they haven't had that experience. And there's a difference between living and visiting. When you live, you start to embed that culture within yourself, and it starts to come out. And it's come out in my work, and it's come out in your work. So you've been kind of, influenced by your own experience, but also by your stepfather as well. So it comes out, and I feel like a lot of us that are in this sustainability or social impact or ethical kind of businesses, it's also about leading with purpose as well. So, although I enjoy what I do, I like being creative, it's also about leading with a purpose. So, I'm not just going to do it for money anymore. And there has to be something else
Yeah,
that has leverage, and that is the purpose. So,
I
yeah.
think that's so much. I mean, even before Corona times, I think that was a
Mm,
really big movement, and people are starting to have this kind of like, I don't just want to work 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day
mhm.
for something I don't believe in. You know, definitely from the younger generation, that's super, super important. But I think people as
Hmm.
older as well are sort of starting to go, hang on a minute, I want to make a difference. I want to make a positive
Yeah.
difference. And, we're getting companies, big, small, global, local, all saying the same thing. A company now can't just make profit. It's got to give back. It's got to support the
Yeah.
community. It's got to, leave a positive legacy, and start to repair some of the damage that's been done over the last 100 years. And I think, for any business, that's got to be front and center of what you're doing now. And it's really interesting to see some of the bigger guys start to grapple around with what their purpose is and how they're going to do that in a way that isn't just greenwashing and isn't just,
Yeah.
writing about something on their website, but not actually doing it. And what I think is really exciting is people are calling it out. I mean, we obviously saw it with the BLM
Yes.
protests, um,
Yes.
and that's I think going to start making people act in a more authentic way, quicker.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, definitely. 100%. So, just out of curiosity, in regards to Pebble Magazine at the moment, is there anything that we need to look out for? I mean, obviously, I'm sure everyone here, if they aren't following you, they're going to be following you because there's so many amazing things to discover. But is there anything that you can kind of, before we
well,
leave, you can kind
definitely,
of give
definitely
us?
there is. But I mean, it's lovely actually. I've seen some familiar names pop up as we've been chatting. So yeah,
Brilliant.
there's a definite crossover, MamaSia, Pebble,
Yeah.
love going on, which is great. Um, yeah, so our big thing this year is we are leaning into our community. So we've had a really big Facebook group in the past. It's still there. It's really engaged. It's really active. But we don't want to be on Facebook anymore. And a lot of our readers don't want to be either. So we've gone and moved on. It's not open yet, so you haven't been left behind if you're watching. We're setting up a private community on a different platform called Mighty Networks, which people will be able to join for free, but then upgrade to either a sort of consumer package or a business membership package, and it'll allow them to do a lot more networking. We're going to enable peer-to-peer learning, so you can learn from other experts in the community, power hours on different topics, so you can get to grips with what you really want to focus on. Book clubs, there's going to be all sorts of things going on. So we're literally just building that all out now, and that will open in April. So that's going to be really exciting. And as much as, Pebble will always be, the magazine will always be at the heart of our business, it's really nice to be able to take that content on a bit and just be able to talk about it in a place that's safe and, welcoming and secure, and not sort of, not trying to battle against an algorithm or anything like that. So yeah, that's super exciting. And then the business community is new, and that will enable small businesses to collaborate with each other and network and share best practice and sort of get to grips with all the different issues that we're all facing. So that is very exciting, and we've just
Yeah.
hired 3 new team members in the last month. So
Congratulations.
yeah,
Fantastic.
it's been
So
busy.
you're expanding internally and the brand's expanding, and I'm gonna have my eyes peeled for April and
Yeah,
see
keep
what
your eyes
comes up. So
peeled.
I'm really excited, and yeah, I love to see us women do things like this. So innovative. So thank you. Well, thank you so much, Georgina, for joining us
Thank you
today.
for having me.
Thank you. I love you. You know I love you. I love you. I love you. So yeah, and for those that don't know, uh, Georgina's actually one of my mentors. So she mentors me, and she's been absolutely phenomenal at like looking at things and saying, "Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?" And everybody in business needs someone like that that can come from the outside and look in and kind of say, or yeah, and cheerlead you on, or kind of just make you
It's been a lot
accountable.
more
So
yes
thank you.
than they're doing
Thank
wonders.
you.
They're doing absolute wonders, and it's just everyone, even whatever business you're working in, having someone else just cast an eye over things is so helpful.
Yes,
Like
it
no one can
is. It
mark their own
really
homework; it's impossible. So
is.
yeah, I've been absolutely thrilled to work with you. I just love it and love seeing what you're
I
doing
love it
and
too.
how much you're expanding and growing and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Please check out the great work that Pebbles is doing. They are absolutely amazing, and you've got this great woman fronting the business. So please check it out. And we'll be back next week with more live. So thank you from me and all the team. And
Thank Thank you
We'll
so
be in touch.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Doing so good. Bye.
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 Bye.